speaking about how gene therapy is being utilised to treat congenital hearing loss. However, before discussing how gene therapy is being used, we first need to understand how the ear actually works. The ear is made up of three parts: the outer, middle and inner ear. All three parts of the ear are important for detecting sound as they work together to move sound from the outer part of the ear through to the inner part of the ear. The outer ear includes the auricle, the ear canal and the eardrum outer layer, which is also known as the tympanic membrane. The outer part of the ear collects sound before travelling through the auricle, through the ear canal before reaching the eardrum. The middle ear contains the eardrum, the tympanic cavity, ossicles, which are three tiny bones, a malleus, which is a long handle attached to the eardrum, an incus, which is the bridge bone between the malleus and the stapes, and the stapes, which is involved in the conduction of sound vibrations to the inner ear. And lastly, the inner ear includes the oval window, which connects the middle ear to the inner ear, semicircular ducts, which are filled with fluid and are attached to the cochlea, the cochlea, which is the spiral-shaped organ of hearing, which transforms sounds into signals which are then sent to the brain, and the auditory tube, which drains fluid from the middle ear into the throat. So how do we actually hear the world around us? When a moving or vibrating object causes the air around it to move, sound waves are created that radiate from the source. Secondly, when these sound waves reach your ear, they travel down the ear canal and hit the eardrum, which causes a vibration. The ossicles in the middle ear then link the vibrating eardrum to the cochlea. The cochlea is then filled with liquid that carries these received vibrations to thousands of tiny hair cells. The movement in the fluid causes the cells to then carry a message to the vestibulocochlear nerve, which carries the message to the brain. These signals are then sent to the brain, where they can then be understood by us. However, like any physiological system, due to genetic mutation, hearing loss can occur, and unfortunately many individuals are affected. So there are three types of hearing loss: conductive hearing loss, which is where vibrations don't pass from the outer ear to the inner ear; sensory neural hearing loss, which is the damage to the hair cells in the cochlea; and mixed hearing loss, which is a combination of both conductive and sensory neural hearing loss. It is evident that 3 out of 1,000 babies are born with hearing impairment, where these congenital disorders are inherited in one of 4 ways. Firstly, they can be inherited by autosomal dominant inheritance, which is the transmission of a rare allele of a gene by a single heterozygous parent that has 2 types of the same gene, one mutant and one normal. Hence, there is a 50% chance of mutation. Secondly, there is autosomal recessive inheritance, where the recessive trait is characterized by having parents who are the carriers of the mutant forms of the gene in question, but are not affected by the disorder themselves. Thirdly, there is X-linked inheritance. It is known that females inherit 2 X chromosomes, whereas males only inherit 1. Hence, if a female inherits one defective gene in one chromosome, the other X chromosome can often compensate. However, for males, if there is a defective gene on the X chromosome, it is likely to manifest into a disorder. And fourthly, there is mitochondrial inheritance, where this is a disorder that can only be passed on from the mother, as sperm does not possess any mitochondria. Current treatments for hearing loss and impairment include hearing aids, which is a device that consists of a microphone, an amplifier, and a loudspeaker to increase the volume of the sound entering the ear, and the cochlear implant, which is a device that replaces the function of a damaged inner ear to provide sound signals to the brain. Nevertheless, like any treatments, disadvantages are inevitable. For example, the disadvantages for these current treatments include cost, discomfort, maintenance issues, surgical risks associated with the surgery to implant the cochlear implant, and potential side effects such as facial nerve weakness. However, a new treatment which incorporates gene therapy is now available. This specific gene therapy for the treatment of hearing loss uses a benign virus as a carrier to transport the gene therapy vector into the inner ear to override the present defective gene. Researchers found that the gene A2OH1 was able to activate hair cells within the ear, which can lead to the stimulation of new hair cells. As congenital hearing loss occurs during gestation, this particular process of gene therapy works to replicate the steps that take place during the embryonic development. As you can see here, this is the benign virus reaching the damaged hair cells, and this is them implanting themselves to stimulate growth.